Wow, we are in week 10 already. Professor Cat here to talk about what's happening in week 10. But before we get to that, let's recap the weekly expectations. Check and respond to emails, review your gradebook, read announcements, review the learning activities, participate in the discussion forum by posting one main post and 2 responses to other students. Your main post is due on Thursday at 11:59 p.m. and responses are due Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Complete and submit Week 10 individual work by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. There is one more expectation for Week 10. If you are missing any assignments or discussions, contact your instructor for guidance on how to complete the late work. This is the week to clear up any issues that may keep you from a passing grade that you will be proud of. Now let's get started. Making good financial decisions in business can be a challenge. A decision that seems good for the company, like say increasing prices, may not be so good for the consumer. Well, lowering prices may make your customers very happy, but what if that decision makes it impossible to continue to pay employees? When faced with the dilemma of whether to do what's right for the business or what serves the consumer best, the best thing to do is find the balance. You see, a small business needs a loyal customer base. Without that, you will always be fishing for new customers. This costs money and takes time. The easiest way to keep your current customers is by maintaining a positive image. That means providing quality products or services each and every time. A set of standards helps with this. If products are made or services are performed the same way using the same high quality all the time, there are no surprises. Your company will gain a strong reputation around town. In order to achieve this stellar reputation, it means spending more on the raw materials you may need to supply your market. Worse yet, it may mean making less profit than you anticipated. But in the end, it tells your customers that you're concerned with their satisfaction. After all, isn't that what you want to go into business for? You want to satisfy your customers' needs and wants. This is where ethics comes into play. Ethics is really nothing more than holding you and others to strict standards of doing what's right. You may remember in week 2, we talked about Nike's manufacturing plant in Indonesia. Many of you were shocked to learn that the very company who sells popular sneakers at extraordinarily high prices uses cheap labor to produce the footwear. What was even more outrageous was the attitude of the CEO Phil Knight and others in power positions when questioned about the practice. This is the quandary many business owners face. Do I farm out the work to countries with cheap labor? Can I use less expensive or inferior materials to produce products? Is it right to take shortcuts where I can to lower costs? How many corners can I cut before my product or service is dangerous? Well, Ford Motor Company faced this issue many years ago when they introduced the Ford Pinto to their fleet. Responding to the many Japanese cars that were filling our American streets, Ford decided that they would design and manufacture a car that meets the needs of fuel-conscious drivers who were speculating over the purchase of a less expensive foreign car. Well, in 1968, the Pinto was born. What Ford didn't see coming was the 1972 regulations set forth by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration that required that all new cars be able to withstand a rear-end collision at 20 miles per hour without fuel loss. In other words, the NHTSA wanted to be sure that low-speed rear-end impact crashes would not cause a car to explode. Well, the little Pinto failed the test. Follow me here. Well, for Ford to continue to compete with the Japanese car sales, they had to make a decision. Continue with the Pinto as is, or take time to redesign the gas tank to make it safer. This is a real ethical financial decision. In other words, Ford has to ask itself a few questions. Should we continue to manufacture the Pinto as is, even though it poses a threat to drivers and society at large? Should we take time to redesign the car to be safer and lose out on the current trend? The decision came down to the cost-benefit of making changes. Ford decided that even though the car was dangerous, it would cost them between $5 to $8 per car to make the changes. The cost of keeping the design as is would be cheaper, even with the lawsuits and fines. In fact, when they did the math, it came down to this. If Ford keeps things the way they were, lawsuits, injuries, and other related expenses would cost the company $49.5 million. To make changes, it would cost the company $137.5 million. In other words, it was cheaper for Ford to pay out lawsuits and fines than it would be to make a safer car. So the decision was made. The Pinto original design remained. It's been a long time since we've seen a Pinto on the road, but questions like this are debated in boardrooms everywhere. Sounds like pretty deep stuff, right? Well, not so much. Making good and ethical financial decisions really comes down to a 5-step process. Begin with a code of ethics. This is a set of standards and policies that everyone in your company must follow. The code is based on rules that everyone agrees to. The rules should be rooted in what is best for everyone collectively, not just the business owner, the employees, or the customers, everyone. Next, when a business decision is made, consider the stakeholders. They are the people who hold a vested interest in the company. It is even more widespread than just the people who put up money. Your employees, suppliers, vendors, and the community may be affected by your business decisions. Then, check out industry regulations for your business. Be sure you are in compliance at all times. A serious violation can be disastrous. Don't always look at the competition for a baseline. Go beyond that and do the right thing. Think about using a consulting firm for decisions that you may not have experience making. An experienced consultant will offer a new or unique perspective. Hone in on their expertise to make the difficult decisions. Finally, look back at the outcomes of your decisions. Learn from the mistakes you make along the way. Don't be afraid to make changes if something isn't working. Ford Motor Company had an opportunity to make changes but decided that the cost-benefit was not enough. Had they stepped back and looked at the larger picture, some 180 lives may have been saved. So how does all of this relate to Week 10? You're going to decide whether a major company's decision was a good idea all around. In Week 10 discussion, you will debate whether CVS made the right move when they removed all tobacco products from their stores. Here are the facts. CVS will lose $2 billion in tobacco and tobacco-related product sales revenue. CVS continues to sell alcohol and sugar products. CVS changed its name to CVS Caremark. CVS added clinics to many stores. CVS promotes themselves as healthcare providers. CVS offers free smoking cessation programs. Now, as you think about the issue at hand, consider the following questions. How does this decision affect CVS as a company in terms of profits? Will the decrease in profits have an effect on employees? Will the decision have an effect on customers in terms of convenience? Will shoppers go elsewhere? Was removing tobacco products an effort to make a decision for smokers to quit? Does CVS have a right to make decisions for its customers? Is it ethical to sell other products like alcohol, sugary snacks, fried snacks, decongestants, nasal sprays, spray paint, sharp objects, and other items that can prove to be dangerous? Is it the right thing to do? Once you come to a conclusion, state your argument in the discussion forum. Remember, there is no right or wrong answer. This is an ethical debate that will take on a life of its own. In Week 10 individual work, you will explore your own fears about accounting. This is really your own opinion. After watching the video provided to you, develop an insightful and candid response to the question. 1 or 2 words won't work. It takes at least 100 words to truly convey your feelings about accounting. As a matter of fact, the same logic applies for your discussion responses. Let's take a few minutes to talk about it. Close your eyes and imagine that you and I are enjoying a cup of coffee at our favorite coffee shop. As we settle into our soft and comfy chairs, we begin chatting about music, television, or the newest bestseller. As you tell me everything you know, my response is, I agree, right, good job. You may be a bit confused by my lack of interest or knowledge, but being passionate about the topic, you continue to talk. As you get deeper into the conversation, I am still blurting out, I like it. Keep up the good work. Thanks for saying that. I can see your frustration because you are now asking me questions. As you ask me questions, my responses become weaker and weaker. Now, I am just about saying nothing. Then I'm silent. I suspect you would walk out of the coffee shop by now. And I don't blame you. Mostly it is because I did not contribute anything to our conversation. I simply agreed with your every statement. Well, that is what a discussion forum looks like when we do not engage by asking relevant questions or making compelling statements. So this week, let's get into the CVS ethical financial dilemma and make it count. Just a reminder, week 10 expectations are: check and respond to emails, review your gradebook, read announcements, review the learning activities, participate in the discussion forum by posting one main post and 2 responses to others. Your main post is due Thursday at 11:59 p.m. and responses are due Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Complete and submit Week 10 individual work by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. That's all for now. Have a great week.